Hello, Tri-Cities, and welcome to the 2020 Candidate Forum, the only region-wide business-focused candidate forum in the Tri-Cities, brought to you by the Tri-City Regional Chamber of Commerce. In this forum, you will be hearing from the candidates running for Washington State House of Representatives in the 8th Legislative District, Position 1. I am Scott Daniels, news anchor for KNDU. I am pleased to be with you. Early voting starts as ballots will begin appearing in mailboxes on October 13th and runs through Election Day, Tuesday, November 3rd. Thank you for joining us to hear the candidates' thoughts on issues that matter to the Tri-Cities community. And now a message from the President and CEO of the Tri-City Regional Chamber of Commerce, Lori Matson.
As the foremost advocate and voice for business, the Tri-City Regional Chamber of Commerce leads by advancing policies and positions that strengthen, preserve, and promote a thriving business climate, economy, and quality of life. The 2020 candidate forums are designed to highlight how candidate positions integrate with local business priorities. I'd like to take a brief moment to thank the Chamber's Board of Directors and Local Government Affairs Committee for their leadership in supporting our advocacy efforts. I'm especially pleased and grateful for the support of the candidate forum sponsors, Cascade Natural Gas, GISA Credit Union, JLH Group, and Hayden Homes. And last but not least, a very special thanks to our local news partners for collaborating on this project. Your time, talent, and expertise are valued and truly appreciated.
Thank you, Lori. It is a pleasure to serve the community by providing opportunities to voters to become better informed about the people who are running for public office. Now to the format. Each candidate will have 1 minute for opening and closing statements. The candidates will be asked the same questions. Response time for each question is limited to 2 minutes. Time limit reminders will appear on screen at 10 seconds remaining and, if necessary, when time is up. Since this is a forum, candidates will not be provided rebuttal time. We're now ready to get started. Let's begin by introducing, in alphabetical order, the two candidates in the race for Washington State House of Representatives in the 8th Legislative District, Position 1. The incumbent is Representative Brad Klippert, and the challenger is Shir Regev. Welcome. And I thank you very much for taking time to be with us. We appreciate both of you. So if you're ready to go, let's get started. As mentioned, we will start opening statements in alphabetical order. So first, Representative Klippert will begin with your opening statement. You have 1 minute.
Thank you, Scott. I am State Representative Brad Klippert. I'm a military veteran, served in uniform now for over 30 years, a law enforcement officer who served more than 25 years as a law enforcement officer, certified as a teacher in 1997. I believe in our Constitution. I believe in standing for the national anthem. I believe in the nuclear family of father, mother, and children. I believe in a strong law enforcement in Washington State. I believe in our military and our veterans. And I think we live in the greatest country in the entire world, and I am very, very proud to be an American. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Klippert. Ms. Regev, you now have 1 minute for your opening statement.
Good morning. My name is Shir Regev. I want to thank the Chamber for this opportunity to address members. I was born in Sunnyside. I was raised in Kennewick, graduating from Kamiakin and WSU. I'm a former Peace Corps volunteer and a Navy veteran. I know what it means to serve. I am so proud of my state. We have everything here to succeed. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. Even U.S. News and World Report ranked Washington State as the #1 place to do business. Given that, why would we want to break away? But for the last 12 years, my opponent has been advocating exactly for that by pushing the concept of Liberty State. In these times, we need to stay together. Look, I'm a Hanford union worker, so I'm not going to pretend that I understand everything about business. But what I will say is that I'm already forming the relationships needed in Olympia to start working for you on day one. I'm a fast learner and a hard worker, and I will make sure we have what we need to succeed.
Thank you, Ms. Regev. Now let's move right into the question and answer portion of this forum. A coin toss just prior to taping has determined that Mr. Klippert will answer the first question and then alternate for subsequent questions. So, Mr. Klippert, let's start with you. This has been a year like no other. Our state has been struggling with the coronavirus, economic downturn, severe unemployment, civil unrest, and catastrophic wildfires. How should the legislature address the gaping hole in the state budget?
By far, the very first thing we should do is get Washingtonians back to work again, Scott. In my personal opinion, it has not been the coronavirus that has caused such a downturn in our economy. It's been our government's reaction, Washington state government's reaction to the coronavirus that has caused a severe downturn in our economy. There's citizens out in Washington state who want to get back to work. They want to support their families. I have single parents come to me and say, I have to make a decision now with the way things are with our schools. Do I want to stay at work and continue to work and support my family, or do I want to stay at home and help educate my children? And that is not a question that they should have to answer. They should be able to go to work and support their children, and our kids should be back in school. So how should the legislature address the gaping hole in the state budget? Get Washingtonians back to work. They're ready to work. They're willing to work. And when they work, Washington grows and prospers. That's how we address the gaping hole in the state budget.
Mr. Regev?
So I feel one of the areas where perhaps I differ from Representative Klippert is I'm running to be your next state representative. I'm not running to play God by deciding who amongst us is expendable if we reopen the economy too soon. What we're experiencing now with the coronavirus is something that nobody has ever experienced before. It's completely unprecedented. So I am not going to criticize our governor for the action that were taken to keep us safe. One of the things that I feel could be done differently is we could have reopened small businesses sooner. I have several friends that do own businesses, and the number one complaint that I hear is, I have the same things that the big box store has. How come they are allowed to reopen? Why were they deemed essential and not me? And it's a very valid argument. So I think that we do need to do more to help small businesses reopen.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Regev. If you have the opportunity to change the business and occupation tax without lowering or eliminating it, what changes would you make and why? Mr. Regev, you are up first for this question.
So if it were me, I would close the loopholes in the B&O tax. Let's be real. We need revenue right now. There's only so much that the state can do by cutting the budget. We still need revenue stream to function. There are loopholes in the B&O tax that allow businesses that are not actually manufacturing, that are not creating jobs, to keep all of their earnings that they make just from investment dollars. If we could close that loophole and get that tax revenue, it's going to give us a much needed tax infusion to the state economy. So that is something that I would advocate for.
Thank you, Mr. Regev. Mr. Klippert.
So I would incentivize businesses, reference the B&O tax. As businesses hire more employees, as businesses grow and expand so they can hire more employees, as businesses continue to contribute to the income or the revenue of Washington State, I would want to incentivize that revenue by giving them, you said I can't lower, the question says without lowering the B&O tax, but I want to incentivize them. So not a blanket lowering of the B&O tax, but as businesses serve the public, as businesses hire more employees, as businesses produce more revenue for the Washington State revenue income stream, they should be blessed through the B&O tax. So that's how I would do that. Incentivize the businesses of Washington State. When they help Washington grow and prosper, when they help Washington employ our citizens, incentivize those businesses for doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Klippert. There are discussions about imposing new statewide taxes, such as a roads usage charge, a capital gains income tax, a Seattle-based payroll tax, a tax to pay for childcare, wildfire prevention and response tax, and a carbon tax. Do you support any of these taxes? Why or why not? Mr. Klippert, you're up first.
Sir, I do not. I do not support any of these tax suggestions. If we simply get Washingtonians back to work, if we get businesses open again, that revenue stream that we had prior to COVID-19, prior to our governor shutting down our economy, we will grow and prosper again. That's what we need to do, sir, is open up this economy. And by saying that, I mean let the small businesses, the independently owned businesses of Washington State open again, get our citizens back to work. When we do that, that revenue will come back, that revenue will recover, and we will not need to raise taxes.
Mr. Regev?
I want to be honest with everybody, so I will say I do support the capital gains tax. Again, going back to the earlier question, we need more revenue. And it's unfair by raising any other tax to try and squeeze blood from a stone. We have people who are hurting, and to raise any of the other taxes would be an undue burden on them. However, the way the capital gains tax is proposed right now, if you're earning over $250,000 from your investment revenue, then the tax would apply to you. And I don't know about how many people are listening that this applies to. It doesn't apply to me. And I don't have a pension. I am completely reliant on my stock portfolio and my 401k for my retirement plan. So if I'm comfortable with raising the capital gains tax, that should be an indication to you that most people will not be impacted by it. But we need money. We need money for the state. We need money also to help pay for the daycare that you were mentioning, so that working parents can get back to work while children are still at home taking online classes. I mean, that's going to be one of the biggest things to help us get back to work, is making sure that parents are able to ensure their children are safe while they're in the workplace.
Thank you, Mr. Regev. Final question here. Do you see the benefits of career-focused education and skills training programs? And if so, how do you believe the legislature can best support them? Mr. Regev, you are up first for this question.
So I'm a union worker. Of course, I believe in career-focused education. It's not everybody's dream to go to a 2-year college or 4-year university. And we need to develop the workforce of tomorrow. I mean, especially in our district, we do have an aging workforce. So to get people into good apprentice programs serves everybody's best interest. And what we can do at the state level is to incentivize contractors when they bid for work with us to not just hire the bare minimum to be considered, but to go above and beyond hiring union workers, contractors that are committed to working with unions and working with apprentices to build up that workforce, because we all benefit from that, especially when our young people have good paying jobs to feed money back into the community. We all win.
Mr. Klippert?
I absolutely, positively support career-focused education. For those students who want to get a 4-year education, a liberal arts education, they should have that opportunity. But I absolutely, positively support career-focused education. As Shir said, for those people who don't necessarily want a master's degree in English or something like that, or do not want a liberal arts education, they want to get a family wage education job and go to work. And so we need to, I would love it if Washington State's legislature, and I would certainly support that and work towards that goal, make a stronger, larger focus towards career-focused education, so that those people who don't have the money for a 4-year education or don't want a 4-year education or liberal arts education can get an education where they can get a family wage job and support their families and make their dreams come true.
Okay, thank you both. This closes the question and answer period. We will end the forum with closing statements. Since Representative Klippert opened, we will begin with closing statements with Ms. Regev. Ms. Regev, you have 1 minute.
People say small business is the lifeblood of any community. What I have seen in the past few months is that our business community is also our heart and soul, whether it's restaurants who work to provide meals to our first responders, or people like the owner of Just Joel's, who rallied our community to help buy tablets for school children in need, so that they can also benefit from online instruction. Our local businesses have our backs, and that's why I will do everything in my power to ensure Olympia has yours. My name is Shir Regev, and if you like what I've said, please honor me with your vote for State Representative Position 1 this November 3rd. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Mr. Klippert.
Thank you, sir. In closing, just want to say one more time how proud I am to be an American. I've made a life of public service as a soldier, made a life of public service as a law enforcement officer, as an educator, and now as a legislator. I love this country. I love this state. I love our community. Public service has been my life, and I continue to choose to serve the public. And so, one more time, I just want to say I'm very proud of this country. I'm proud of our flag. I stand for the national anthem. I'm very proud when I stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I believe in one nation under God. And so I'm just excited to have served my community, my state, and my nation in the way that I have. And I'm more than willing to continue to do that, to continue to put Washington State first, to get our businesses back to work and get people back to work and schools open again so our kids can get a quality, great education and our parents can get back to work and support their families. Thank you very much for your time. God bless you. God bless your families, and God bless America.
Thank you. All right, Shir Regev and Brad Klippert, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us for the Tri-City Regional Chamber's 2020 Candidate Forum, featuring candidates running for the Washington State House of Representatives, 8th Legislative District, Position 1. As we begin to count down to Election Day on November 3rd, please remind your friends in the 8th Legislative District to watch, share, and get out the vote. You can find this video and other candidate forum videos on the Tri-City Regional Chamber website. That's at www.tricityregionalchamber.com. Again, thank you to the Chamber, KNDU, the candidates and sponsors, Cascade Natural Gas, GISA Credit Union, and JLH Group. And especially to all of you for watching. This is Scott Daniels from KNDU News, reminding you to vote.